how it cometh to pass, I cannot tell. But of late your grace is grown into great choleric fashions, whensoever you are contraried in that which you have conceived in your head. A king which shall give men occasion of discourage to say their opinions frankly, receiveth thereby great hurt and peril to his realm. But a subject in great authority, as your grace, in using such fashion, is like to fall into great dangers and peril to his own person, besides that to the Commonwealth. Those were William Paget's words to Edward Seymour, Duke of Somerset, in May 1549, months before the summer that wrecked Somerset's standing. If only he'd listened. On the 13th of October 1549, Somerset's protectorate was dissolved. The next day, he was in the Tower. I'm historian and author Claire Ridgway, and today I'm not reliving every twist of his fall. I've covered that. I'm asking a simpler question. What kind of leader was Somerset, and why did that make him fall? But first, we have to be fair on him. Somerset did inherit a mess. Henry VIII left an empty treasury, no firm allies, potential enemies on two fronts, and a people split over religion. Somerset was a gifted soldier and competent administrator. But at the top, the flaws that didn't matter on campaign mattered enormously when you were ruling a country. 3 patterns doomed him. 1. He led alone. As protector, Somerset didn't just chair the council, he worked around it. He leant on royal prerogative as if it were his, even using the royal we. He kept a private court of requests, used the king's signature stamp, and sat in the Lords on a special chair of state. To colleagues, that wasn't firmness, it was usurpation. Number 2. Temper over counsel. Paget's letter hits the heart of it. As Paget said, a king can sometimes get away with bluntness and having strops. A subject can't. Ignore frank advice and you don't just bruise egos, you break coalitions. Number 3, sympathy without strategy. He felt for the commons, the common people, especially on enclosures. But sympathy isn't a plan. In 1549, he sent mixed signals. He dithered and he let local unrest harden into serious rebellion. The rebellions had to be crushed anyway, only now he looked both weak and bloody. As his biographer Margaret Scard notes, he failed in the first duty of a ruler: keep the king's peace. And then when it came to other countries abroad, his big bet, garrisoning Scotland, failed. Mary Queen of Scots slipped to France. The policy bled money, while Boulogne grew precarious. The council later accused him of losing valuable territory and bringing the realm to the edge of the abyss. At home, he achieved the Act of Uniformity and the 1549 Book of Common Prayer, but in the process he managed to alienate almost everyone. Conservatives thought he'd gone too far, and evangelicals thought he hadn't gone far enough. By late summer 1549, as W.K. Jordan observes, Somerset stood almost alone in the council. When his colleagues finally moved against him, they had a long list of grievances. As his biographer William Seymour summarises, Somerset had ridden roughshod over the council, he'd appropriated royal style and prerogatives, he'd lost territory and endangered the realm, he'd enriched himself and friends with crown lands, he'd misused the king's stamp, he'd held his own court of requests, he'd set himself apart ceremonially in the Lords, he'd squandered funds, desecrated churchyards, and even pulled down churches for his building projects. That's quite a list. So Some items were politics and optics, but together they painted a prideful man who was a spendthrift and who was deaf to how he looked. Even Edward VI's own summary cut to the quick. Ambition, vainglory, entering into rash wars in mine youth, negligent looking on Newhaven, enriching himself of my treasure, following his own opinion, and doing all by his own authority, etc. That last clause, following his own opinion, is the through line of his rule. And Somerset managed to offend or sideline men he needed. The Earl of Southampton, Sir William Herbert, the Earl of Northampton, Lord Russell, Lord St. John, and above all, John Dudley, Earl of Warwick. Demoting Dudley from Lord Admiral in favour of Thomas Seymour, tangling over patronage, allowing the removal of Warwick's enclosures, and then delivering policy drift. Well, it was a masterclass in how not to manage a rival. When the reckoning came, Somerset had no one left to lean on. Paget had warned him plainly. A subject in great authority who silences frank counsel endangers himself. Somerset read the letter and kept going. That's what undid him, I feel. That personality mix, anger plus obstinacy, turned into bad policy and eventually disaster. Yes, he faced brutal conditions, but the Protector's job demanded three things he didn't supply: coalition, clarity, and cold steel. Somerset chose isolation, mixed signals, and private certainty. In easier times, his decency and sympathy might have read as virtue, but in 1549 they read as hesitation and hubris. He lost the protectorate in October 1549, was arrested, then pardoned and restored in 1550. But he never rebuilt trust. New allegations followed. He escaped treason, was convicted of felony, but was beheaded on the 22nd of January 1552. He died with dignity. His nephew wrote simply, "The Duke of Somerset had his head cut off." Yes, those were King Edward VI's words in his journal, writing about his uncle. Now it's your turn. Which single choice do you think most damaged Somerset? The Scottish garrisons, mishandling the rebellions, or alienating the council? Do tell me in the comments. And do like, subscribe and ring the bell for more daily Tudor history. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.